Hi, Libra family. I hope your birthday season was absolutely magical and that this Venus retrograde so far has been helpful and kind and gentle to you. Now, of course, as soon as we hit into November, we are in Scorpio season, which is your second house, but this Venus retrograde, your ruling planet, will be going to meet you all and start her retrograde going back through your sign for the first 16 days of November. So you're going to be feeling that. You're going to be feeling that integration energy. You are going to be feeling that kind of wanting to pull back, be internal a little bit, be very private, be very secretive. And the funny thing about this month is that we have the Venus retrograde. It goes direct on the 16th in your sign. And then that same day, Mercury goes retrograde and starts that retrograde in Sagittarius, which is your communication house, right? And a sign that is very symbiotic with you, but at the same time, you know, you've got some energy that will be kind of pulling you private and internal this month. And I think there's a really beautiful energy to that, right? I think you are needing some assessment time and you're needing some prep time, because what was really interesting to me, I'm going to start shuffling the cards as we continue kind of talking through the astrology and the note I have for you. The interesting thing that came up for me with you all this month was how this was the note. You are allowed to step into center stage. You are allowed to take on this next identity that is coming in for you, and you are allowed to become this next great version of yourself. For some reason, that affirmation came up for Libra really poignantly when I checked in with your energy. And I was thinking about it because with all this introspective energy, all this energy that wants you to kind of hold private and quiet and internal, it was interesting to have that pop up as the note. But it all kind of makes sense, right? When I often find that when we are being asked to step into a new role, step into a new phase, and we're having so much that is about energetic new cycles, there is a period right before that where we really need to take some time and we need to take stock and we need to just check in with all the parts of ourselves. And because you have your ruling planet retrograde in your sign, it's this whole, you know, just checking in with your self-value, checking in with your self-worth, checking in with where, you know, you might have any little gates up, protective gates up, right? And we're all doing that work, but because it's so for you with your ruling planet like that, look what we have, 5 of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. That right there is the internal work we're going to be talking about here today. That's coming up. Now, the other interesting thing that's going on this month, well, we have a couple of interesting things. We have Jupiter going home to Sagittarius on the 8th, which once again, that's your conversational third house energy, right? So how you're expressing, how you're communicating, short-term travel, all of that good stuff is getting highlighted. But once again, we also have this Mercury retrograde starting the second half of the month. So there's a kind of, we have Jupiter getting this amplification, and then we have a slowdown on the other side. So there's that. The other big thing that's going on is the north node of the moon is moving into Cancer. So for you, this is your career, how you put yourself out there in the world, how you present yourself. When we have energy illuminated with the north node, that's where we're really heading. The star. Beautiful, Libra. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's where our energy is headed. So the next year and a half, you are going to be focusing on what your career, what you're bringing to the world. 2 of Cups, beautiful. Wow. What you're going to be bringing to the world, what you are going to be wanting to bring to the world and put on center stage. Because if I have an affirmation note, like you are allowed to be on center stage, there's something inherently saying that there's something you want to do, there's something you want to express, there's something you want to share. And this month is going to be a month where you check in with that and you get right with that and you let yourself have it. Hierophant. That's interesting. We also have, you know, we have a full moon or new moon in Scorpio. What date is that on? Oh, on the 7th. There's a lot going on at the beginning of this month. It's like the 6th, 7th, and 8th are going to be heavy hitters as far as astrology. And I will leave the Vimeo link for the Venus retrograde for those of you who want that. The Devil, wow. And then Ace of Swords popped out. Let's pull one more and then we will talk through this energy. And then we have the really interesting thing here with the moon is the full moon in Gemini, which is at 0 degrees of Gemini. It's happening right after Sag season begins. Wow, 2 cards came out actually, 5 of Cups and Knight of Cups. Okay, you can kind of see, I think, Libra, I think you can kind of see the themes we have going on here. But that 0 degree moon it's a follow-up to the Taurus full moon that we had in October, which is this 1 degree moon. These 2 moons so close to the beginning of a degree sign are really asking us to shift into a new energetic phase. And all the cards here are showing that for you as well, Libra. I mean, you're starting out right out the gate with 5 of Wands. And a lot of times when I see this energy coming up, especially next to something as earnest and grounded as the Knight of Pentacles, I'm seeing an internal battle going on here. I'm seeing the desire for a lot of external motion, a lot of external changes, moves, what have you. But then the reality being that there is a kind of check-in, slowdown, integration energy. So I think what you may be feeling especially during those first 2 weeks when we still have Venus retrograde happening and we still have a lot of really heavy hitting integrative energy working at all of us, you are going to be really eager and excited and ready to just dive in and make things happen. You may even be finding you're connecting with people and you are, reconnecting with people and conversations are happening and there's some energy there and there's going to be this eagerness to dive right in. Here's the thing. You may find that there's a little bit of friction and tension with trying to get things done during that time because you really utilize this Knight of Pentacles energy. This is much more about assessing the lay of the land, taking note of where there are advantages, where you can put your assets, where you can make a game plan that will take you very far in the long run. Take note of all of it. Really take note of all of this, especially with the way the astrology is working with you specifically. This is a really good time to watch how other people are moving through the world and also watch yourself where you feel embattled, where you feel that you are not allowed to have something because they keep getting this thing like sometimes you stop your ability to dream something up because you're like, oh, well, that won't work out anyway. This is a great time, the first half of this month, to allow yourself to dream, envision, and make that game plan. And where your power really is going to lie, Libra, this month is not going to be in trying to take a whole bunch of action because you'll find you just burn through a lot of fuel. Your power is going to really be in this Knight of Pentacles, making the game plan. Quiet, stealthy, under the radar, making things happen. And it may be very internal for some of you. For some of you, it may just be very, secretive at home, making the notes. For some of you, it may be really about your soul journey and where you're checking in with that. Because what I see here, there is expansion. There are dreams coming up. There are opportunities coming up, right? And big ones. These are huge energies. These are huge energies. The next 3 cards, wow. Really the next 4. You have so much major arcana here inviting you forward, right? But I want to talk about the Devil next because that's a little bit of there's a couple layers to that. But what I see here with the Star and the 2 of Cups and the Hierophant, this is where we commit to a new path. This is where we commit to a new version of expansion. And this is where we commit to a new version of balance. And I think this is going to look very different for each of you out there. Obviously, some of you, maybe it is about calibrating a relationship or beginning a new relationship, which if you are connecting with somebody near the beginning of this month, take it slow, take it easy, pay attention, watch the details, let it unfold over time. You do have that Knight of Pentacles riding with you, which means you gotta parse through things a little bit more cautiously, a little more slowly, just let it develop, right? But whatever this new landscape is, I think a lot of you, though, are stepping into big leadership opportunities. You're stepping into new versions of who you are and how you share of your gifts and your intellect and your ability to connect people. That's really strong, you know, and there's a lot on your mind about what you want to contribute to this world and why it matters to you. And it might be really, you know, calling you up on that back telephone that keeps ringing and ringing and ringing, right? And as I always say with the star, this is beautiful. Speaking of allowing yourself to dream, really important this month, especially during this Venus retrograde and even during the Mercury retrograde. You know, reincorporation times are so fantastic for allowing yourself to dream, to come up with new visions, to come up with new ways of seeing and being in the world. And not only that, the star also has another key component. I always say the star asks for one sacrifice in order to arrive, and that is the sacrifice of comfort, of your comfort zone, of what is already known and done. The star wants to come in and give you all the healing, all the expansion, your deepest wish. Y'all have that one wish that if you don't even have a second to think about it, somebody says, say your wish right now, you know exactly what that one wish is. There's one very specific one for each of you out there. You know exactly what it is. But she can only confer that healing and that blessing and that expansion when you are willing to let go of old versions of yourself and old versions and limiting beliefs about where you're allowed to go. Now, what's really cool about this, though, you guys, is I see this progression with you. I see this energy kind of marching forward with a steady, solid foundation under it that I think has been riding with you for a little while, and I see it really strongly here. And that's where these two come in, because, you know, the Hierophant energy, what I do love about it, yes, it's about leadership, yes, it's about commitment, yes, it's about long-term focus. It's also about ritual. It's also about how we take the intuitive internal center and we give it to others, how we can combine the established order of this world and our spiritual knowledge in a way that works. It's also about long-term investing in your identity and who you want to be in this world. And it has something to do with connecting to others, with connecting pieces, with connecting all of that. And you're learning something about what balance really means here so that you can bring it to other people. Now, here's what's interesting. You know how I said the north node of the moon is going into Cancer? That's important for you because it's highlighting who you are as an individual, just as you, your own vibrant, wonderful person, regardless of relationships to others and to scenarios and to external situations. This Hierophant Devil combo right here is really powerful because that energy is going to be pushing you to become some kind of force of nature when it comes to leadership and career and who you are in this world. It is going to be a very big player for you over the next year. I keep getting that. And these two are speaking to that. Now, yes, the one thing to look out for with the devil is, you know, when it does come to relationships, when it does come to the more emotional side, because, you know, our careers, what we do in the world is emotional, but, you know, our relationships are important. There is a dualism going on here. So obviously Two of Cups is one of my favorite energies when we're talking about relationships, because this is about balance and enjoyment and full cups and the ease and the flow. The devil showing up here does suggest to me that there are some of you that are going to be very tempted to go back to old patterning this month. There's kind of this fork in the road, right? There's a lot of invitations here calling you forward to this new horizon, to expand into this star energy and to go for it and to leave behind. There's also a lot of temptation to go back to familiar ways that are kind of homey and kind of cozy. And while they may feel a little bit like you're trapped, they also feel kind of good. And you might be noticing you have days where you want to go back to old ways. You have days where you want to retract and retreat back into some old spaces. So watch that. And that really is where this these last three cards come into our conversation today, my loves, because you can see this, right? Ace of Swords, Five of Cups, Knight of Cups. This is once again telling me, look, the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Cups are opportunities, right? They are rich with communication, with offers of love, with offers of renewal, with fresh beginnings, with fresh romance, with fresh ideas, with fresh eyes, with hope, with fortitude, all of these great, very forward-focused, breath of fresh air energies. I mean, that's what these two are all about that. They're anchoring this Five of Cups. And it's just what I was saying just now with the Devil showing up. The Five of Cups is often, I see this as a gateway card. Yes, it can be about mourning a loss, right? Yes, it can be about mourning something that you've lost. And maybe October was a little hard on you. It could have been. Maybe you just, with the retrogrades, the way they're working at you, you're kind of coming to terms with some old wounds, right? But this is a gateway card because this figure is standing between two horizons. And it's really that moment where you choose to stay mourning or turn around and look toward what we have around it. And it's scary because when you turn to these two cups, you are inherently turning to this bridge, to this new landscape, to a new territory that you have never been in before. And you're a cardinal sign, so I trust you to forge forward. That's one of the beautiful things about Libran energy is that you have the air quality, which is so great for movement, experimentation, curiosity, intellect, all of that good stuff. And you have the cardinal energy, which is all about initiation and getting things moving. But what's been funny about you all in the last few months has been kind of that you've almost disconnected from some parts of those aspects of yourself a little bit. And you're re-engaging with them again. You're learning how to get back into maybe a modality that does feel a little bit more familiar to you, that does feel a little bit more like your real self. You know, I think that's a good thing. You are reconnecting with yourself. If you felt a little bit of a disconnect from like your soul voice and just how you're moving through the world, I think what this month is really doing for you is trying to re-engage those two parts of yourself in a much more consistent dialogue so that you can really step into this new identity. Because I tell you what, the theme over and over again, this reading has been like, you can go back to these harder ways of doing things. You can go back to these more embattled ways of doing things with these two fives right here. You can go back to this more grounded, stuck approach, or you can expand way into this new territory, and you can choose that. And I honestly think it won't be that difficult for you. But what this reading is helpful for today in our conversation is to know that that's the process that you're working through. So when you're having those days where you are just feeling like maybe this is just how life is going to be now, maybe this is your new identity, you're just going to live this way in this modality for the rest of time, maybe that's it. When you have those days, just understand that it's in the context of the fact that you are incorporating, you are getting your soul and your conscious mind back in an easier dialogue so that you have that balance so that you can expand forward and you know what your natural impulses are going to be and that you are choosing differently. And that's a practice. I think sometimes we think we'll have a Venus retrograde, we'll have a full moon, we'll have some kind of healing week, and then we'll just go forward with life and it will be done. But a lot of our lives are our devotion to our little practices, these little practices that end up being quite significant. And one of the practices you guys have been kind of working through is practicing this new way of envisioning yourself, practicing this new way of envisioning your leadership and the way you connect to others, practicing allowing yourself to dream again, practicing allowing yourself to become this big, bold personality again. And that practice in and of itself is something you are going to be playing with in November. When we have all this retrograde action, we have a whole bunch of energy rushing forward with a North Node and a cardinal sign, with Jupiter going home, with all the energy that comes in with, you know, Sagittarius season at the end of the month. We are playing with molding new thoughts and new strategies for moving forward in our life. And you are no exception by any means, Libra. So I just want to remind you again of the affirmation that became as your note this month, which is you are allowed to step onto center stage, you are allowed to take on this next identity, and you are allowed to become this next great thing. You are allowed to do that, and you are allowed to engage with it, and you are also allowed to take your time and parse through the details of that and what you want it to look and feel like, and to take your time inviting in the people that you want to work with, and to not push so hard to feel that that needs to all be figured out this month, because it doesn't. The most powerful partnerships and projects that are going to be coming for you are going to take a little bit of time, and they're going to kind of come in gently and slowly. So keep that in mind. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for sitting with me. Like I said, I'll leave the Venus retrograde info below if you're wanting a little bit more engagement with that. And I'll also leave my website, my email, and follow me at the Sarah Tarot on Instagram. I'd love to see you over there. We have so much fun checking in with the energies. So I'd love to see you over there. I'm also wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. She is giving you guys a special discount just for hanging out here with me, so I'll leave her website below. She's a really dear friend and somebody I love so much, and that's why we work together. So I will leave her info below. Great for holidays. And I think that's everything. Keep an eye out for more and more and more. I'm going to be hopefully producing more content for you guys, more stuff that you can engage with, more materials, and I'm really excited about what this coming year is going to bring. So I'm sending you all my best. I will see you in December for more adventure. Mwah.